Hi, friends. Happy Thursday. I'm so excited to be hanging out with y'all for another round of Designer Strategy Chats. If you're new around here and you aren't familiar with Designer Strategy Chats, these are regular, totally free live trainings that I love to do for fellow brand designers and strategists. The whole point of Designer Strategy Chats are to share my experience as a brand designer and strategist of over 7 years to help you grow your own brand design and strategy business on your own terms. My goal is to share what I've learned along my own entrepreneurial journey in such a way so that I can hopefully save you some time, some energy, some trial and error along the way. And today I am really looking forward to really sharing a little bit more about how to grow your design business by growing your team, and specifically who that very first hire should be in order to grow your design business. But if you are tuning in, I would so love it if you would just pop into the chat, introduce yourself, share where you're tuning in from. It is a beautiful, beautiful day here in Waco, Texas, and I am just loving the opportunity to be able to hang out with y'all, talk more about how to grow your design business. And also at the end of this live training, I would love to get to any questions that y'all might have. So if you have a question at any point during this live training, what you can do is below the video, right down here, you should see a section that says ask a question. And at any point, what you can do is just click on that. A little box will pop up and you can type in the exact question you have. And at the end of our conversation, I can go back in and just do a round of Q&A. So if you think of anything that you want me to clarify, anything that you want us to dive into deeper, please feel free to add any of those questions to that handy little box below, and I will be sure to get to them towards the end of our session. Like I said, if you are joining me, feel free to pop into the chat, introduce yourself, let us know who you are, where you're tuning in from. I'm so excited to get to know y'all a little bit better as well, because this whole topic today of growing your design business, growing your team, bringing someone into this amazing business that you've built is such a process. It's such a labor of love. And it's something that I really do believe it's so helpful if we can understand kind of where you are, where you're wanting to go, and then help you assess whether or not really adding someone onto your team is going to be the best fit for you. But all that to say, you are probably tuning into this live training if you are a talented designer, but you really feel like there aren't enough hours in the day. Can anyone relate? Hey, Hannah, so good to see you. Hannah tuning in from beautiful Colorado. Man, I am so jealous. I'm sure that you have some amazing weather there and beautiful, beautiful mountains as well. So thanks for tuning in, Hannah. So I don't know if you are a designer and you feel like there is just too much on your plate, so much that's vying for your time and energy, and you know that there simply aren't enough hours in the day. As I'm going through these, if you can identify if you are feeling yourself over there, raising your hand high, feel free to pop that into the chat as well. I'd love to hear what parts of this you're resonating with. So you're probably joining me if you feel like there's just too much to do, you can't do it all. You might be joining me for this live training if you also feel like you have big, beautiful, bold dreams for your business. Emily is like, yeah, girl, I feel that. You might have these amazing dreams for your business. You know that there are intentional new heights that you want to pursue, but you're really wondering how you can do that on your own, right? We always hear, especially in the creative industry, about this idea of scaling your business and taking it to the next level. But there comes a certain point, if we aren't going to scale sustainably and successfully, we can't be the only one day in, day out, making the dream work happen. We have to be able to open ourselves up and bring someone on board. Hannah, so glad to hear that. You've seen some amazing growth since Illume. That makes my heart so, so happy. You also might be joining me for this live training if you are a designer who really feels like you're spending a lot of your time day in and day out doing things that are not essential tasks for you. Those tasks might look like anything that doesn't require your specific skill set, your creativity, your time, your energy. That could be anything from bookkeeping to pushing posts through on Instagram to even onboarding new clients, getting them set up in your CRM, right? Those are all things that need to happen in order to keep things moving forward, keep everything rocking and rolling, but those don't necessarily have to be tasks that you specifically the only person doing. So my goal with this live training today is I want to, if you are identifying with any of those pain points or even some others that I haven't mentioned, I want this to be a conversation where we can help you identify how bringing someone onto your team can propel you forward in the right direction. And believe me, I have been there. I have been the designer who was raising her hand to every single one of those pain points that I just mentioned. For more time than I care to admit, I told myself that in order to grow my business and serve my clients well, my hands had to be in like all facets of my business, right? I had to be the ones doing all of the things. And it was a matter of pride in some ways, but also a matter of wanting to kind of put out a very specific product, a very specific experience that kept me kind of fearful and a little bit nervous from opening up my business and bringing people on board. But since I made that leap, I have been blown away by everything that I thought would come true, all of the fears, all the insecurities. They've been completely proven wrong. I have been amazed to see that by inviting people onto my team, I've been able to actually serve my clients better. I've been able to grow my business more sustainably. I've been able to experience a deeper sense of joy even as I watch this business that I've built be able to help support and provide for the women who are part of my team. And it has been a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I still can very distinctly remember those days where I was keeping my head down, hustling by my lonesome and trying to do all of the things all at once, all by myself. And I don't want that for you. If you are in a similar season like that, I want to show you how you can grow your design business on your own terms and who that really strategic first hire can be in order to help you make that happen. So today, as we are going through any of this, like I said earlier, if you've got questions, if you want to dive into something a little bit deeper, I'm definitely going to be carving out some time for Q&A at the end. So there's a section below the video that says ask a question. You can click on that, pop in your question at any point in time, and I will be able to see those as they come in and I can dive into them at the end of our conversation. So all that to say, today, we are here to explore how you can grow your design business by bringing on a strategic first hire. And before I share exactly what role I think you should be filling, I want to just kind of have a quick minute to share that I really do think there are some distinct differences between bringing on a member of your team and investing and working with someone like a business coach or a mentor. Sometimes I've been having conversations with fellow designers, whether they are, people who I've met at conferences or something like that, and they tell me that they have teams already in place. And I think that's amazing. And then we get to talking about it, and they're telling me that their business coach or their business mentor is a part of their team, and their bookkeeper is a part of their team. And they're kind of going down the list. Now, I think that we need to be honest about the way that we're defining the term team. Obviously, if you are working with a coach, with a mentor, someone who is helping you identify ways that you can grow and then mapping out steps you can take to experience that level of growth, that is someone who is helping you, yes. But my guess is that coach, that mentor is not in your business with you every single day. And my guess is also that business mentor, that coach, they're also probably not doing the work for you, right? They are mapping out for you what you should be doing, but they will not actually help you implement that, right? The implementation part of that puzzle is actually up to you. And that's how any, kind of healthy coach mentor relationship should be. As a mentor myself, I provide all of the tools that my clients need in order to hit their goals and experience growth. But ultimately, if they're going to experience growth, they need to be the ones that are truly taking action and implementing the systems and the strategies that I share with them. So I would never consider myself to be a part of my mentoring clients team or the women who are a member of my group coaching program or my course for designers, and not necessarily a part of their team. I feel like I'm in their corner, I'm cheering them on, but I'm not going to be someone who's with them day in, day out, doing the work and implementing that within their business. Someone who's going to be a part of your team is going to be there for you on a consistent basis. Based on the way that you've outlined the terms of your relationship, whether they are part-time or full-time with you, they are going to be in your business, in the trenches, getting their hands dirty, doing the work right alongside you. And you're able to delegate to them. As the head of your team, the head of your business, the creative force behind it all, you are in a position to delegate tasks to those people. So members of your team, realistically, who what I would consider to be part of your regular working team that propels your business forward and allows you to really scale, those are going to be people like office managers, VAs, fellow designers, copywriters, people that you're really working with on a very consistent basis, not only to propel your business forward and kind of work on some of the more admin behind the scenes type things, but also in the case of copywriters, fellow designers, things like that, those are going to be people who are going to help you actually implement and do your client work, right? So I hope that you can kind of start to see the difference between a coach or a mentor or having a dedicated team member and the different roles that they play. I believe that both are equally important in order to really grow in your business. I think there's a season to be working with educators, to be getting tailored one-on-one guidance. But I also think there's a season to be inviting people into the inner workings of your business to help you grow. And when I was able to make that leap and find a good fit for the position that I was looking to fill, I was also able to experience some really great results. So the person who I believe you should be hiring first in order to grow your design business is going to be an admin type role. Now, most of the time when I am chatting with fellow designers, they are outlining all the ways that they feel like they need help within their business. And a lot of the time, the stuff that they really love doing is design centric, right? You loved creating logo mockups. You love doing wireframes for websites. You love researching color palettes and doing the strategy work with your clients. But when it's maybe some of those more back-end admin type things, like maybe spending time in your inbox or scheduling out content for your marketing or, paying bills or any of those kinds of things, our eyes can start to kind of glaze over a little bit and we don't really feel the same like draw or passion to that. And that's okay. There are different aspects of the work that we do as entrepreneurs that we feel passionate about and that we feel called to really do and to do well. And if you're in a season of life, in a season of business where you feel like there are so many tasks on your plate on a daily basis that do not sound like a true and strategic use of your time, I really think that those are going to be the types of tasks to outsource to somebody else. And the reason why I really encourage you to start with an admin type role is because this person is actually going to do something really strategic for you that you two might not realize up front. And that's if you are able to bring someone onto your business in an admin type capacity, they're actually going to be able to help you create the clarity and the space to scale strategically. Now, there are 4 specific ways that I've found that filling an admin type role can really help you take your business to the next level. And really the first and kind of most powerful way that having someone in an admin type role, that's going to be like an office manager, that can even be a VA. A lot of virtual assistants will do very admin specific tasks for you, and it's amazing. So this doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's based in your area. This could be someone that you're working with remotely. Lots of different ways to find the right person to fit this role. But one of the most powerful ways that I think they can help you, especially if you are in an active season of growth where you're really wanting to take things to heartfelt new heights, is if they are able to help you streamline your systems and put those systems and processes out on paper. Now, in our businesses, there are dozens, if not hundreds of tasks that we do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. And if you are a solopreneur, chances are you've gotten so used to doing those things that they're just second nature to you. You don't have to remind yourself how to respond to a common question you get from clients. You don't have to remind yourself how to create a new project in your CRM in order to add a new client and get them set up with all the initial homework or resources or contracts or invoices that they need, right? You know all of that stuff. But how many times are you actually sitting down and writing out those processes, those systems? Are they living somewhere, or are they only living mentally inside your mind? If you're bringing someone onto your team, that kind of forces you to communicate all of these processes, all of these steps that are a part of your workflow that you take for granted. And at first, that might seem like a little bit of a headache. That might seem like, gosh, Bonnie, you told me that if I hired someone to do this for me, that would save me more time, but that would save me time, but I'm spending more time on the front end talking about all of these standard operating procedures and getting all of our workflows out on paper. But trust me, if you are willing and able to do that first kind of initial work to get all of your workflows down into essentially a handbook of guidelines for your brand and for your business, that is going to be a set of tools that you can share over and over and over and over again. No matter who you bring on, however long you are working with them, you can literally bring someone into your team for a season and say, hey, this is how we do things. And instead of sitting there and like manually walking them through those steps, you can hand them this guidebook. You can, send them to a Google Drive folder with all of the docs in there that maps out all of the things they need to know about running your business. Hannah's over here like, yes, get all these systems out of my mind. And I know that it takes time to take all of those amazing systems and those processes and get them out of your head and onto paper. But once you're able to do that, you would honestly be amazed at the amount of mental space that frees up. Instead of you having to remember somewhere in the back of your mind how to do all these things or how to teach someone how to do these things that are part of your process, you can just refer them to these amazing resources and these guides that you have put together already. And that's actually something that working with an admin type hire, like an office manager, a VA, a good VA, a good office manager will be able to help you take those processes and get them out into a set of guides and resources that you both can reference for years to come. When I actually brought on I love to call her my right-hand gal. She is essentially my brand manager, Mariana. I brought her on, a little over a year ago. And when we started working together, I actually already had quite a few of my primary processes already mapped out, but being able to share those with her, she asked questions that I hadn't considered. She helped me understand ways that I could actually take those processes and those workflows and refine them a little bit more. Being able to communicate those processes to someone, even though on my end, individually, I'd been using them for years and seeing great results, she was able to help me identify areas for growth. So I really do believe that having someone on your team who can help in this way, they're going to help you get all of those amazing processes, workflows, the steps you take out of your brain onto paper, so to speak, so that you can have a series of guidelines of all of your workflows as a business. And the beautiful part of that is if you can get your workflows out of your brain and onto a Google Drive or a binder somewhere, then that means if you are ever out of the office, if you are unavailable for some reason, the important processes, the important steps that need to happen within your business, they can still happen even if you aren't physically there. And that gives you a huge amount of freedom and a huge amount of space in the long run. So first, really strategic benefit of bringing on an admin type hire. They're going to be able to help you streamline your processes and identify them, in some cases, in the first place. Another strategic thing that they're going to be able to do for you as a designer is they can actually help onboard your clients. Now, before you kind of get up in arms and think like, oh my gosh, onboarding my clients, that's something that I would never want to outsource or never want anyone else to be doing that. When I say onboard your clients, I want you to think about all of the things that you can do to educate a brand new client who's just signed on with you that can be automated, that can be a part of an automatic workflow. Personally, I use HoneyBook and I use their workbook feature in order to automate a lot of the initial onboarding steps with any new client that I bring on. So when I send out a proposal, it's accepted, we sign on the dotted line, and we make things official, I'm able to hand over the next steps to my right-hand gal, Mariana, and she can go and activate an automated workflow that will then send them an excited, joyful email that says, yay, it's official. Today, we are kicking off the start of our relationship together. It's going to send them my welcome guide. It's going to send them all of the initial pre-branding worksheets that I need for them to send, and I can schedule out when they're being sent. So it's kind of on a staggering basis. It really helps me go through all of those important initial concepts and things that I want my new clients to be aware of so that I can serve them best, like that welcome guide, getting their pre-branding homework so that on their start date, we can dive right in with all of the resources, all of the assets that I need from them already in HoneyBook. It's an amazing thing. And it doesn't take any of my action, any of my time. I don't have to sit there and write out the email because everything is templated and streamlined and refined so that purely at the click of a few buttons, my clients are getting this very robust, very streamlined onboarding kind of welcome experience that is very intentionally welcoming them into the B is for Bonnie design family in that way. And the amazing thing is I don't have to be spending, time out of my day doing that. And the other flip side of that is my clients are still getting the best possible experience from me, all the information they need to know to have all of their questions answered and to feel confident about the process of really diving into their branding project. So onboarding your clients, that can be, especially if you set up your VA, your office manager, your brand manager with a great set of resources, they can onboard your clients as if they were you. And that can save you a lot of time to focus on things that only you need to be doing. Like if you are the only person who can design logos, the only person who can, design websites or print collateral, then the time that you would be spending in sending some people some emails or sending them a welcome guide or some initial client worksheets, you can then be devoting that time to more top priority things. So the next thing that I really believe that can help you continue to grow your business, that an admin type hire can do for you, is they can execute your editorial calendar. How many times have you felt like you have wanted to write more blog content or send out regular emails or, have more consistent Instagram presence or any of those kinds of things? But because you are so busy serving your clients, the marketing and the content creation side of things falls by the wayside. I know I have definitely been in seasons where that has happened. I have no shame in hiding that. And maybe you have too. Maybe you have felt kind of the pressure. It's that pressure again of like, there's so many things to fit into the day. There's so many things that are vying for our time and attention. And obviously our clients are top priority. So then those other things like creating content to market your work, adding new projects to your portfolio, all those kinds of things can kind of fall by the wayside. Hannah, yeah, girl, I'm like right there with you. It's rough to be able to figure out how you can both serve your clients well and crank out amazing, consistent content for your editorial calendar, which is why bringing someone else into this business with you can help you focus on your highest points of contribution, as I like to call them, while still having someone else that you can delegate the other important, but not top priority things like creating content. This is something where I have, clients in my group coaching program or clients that I've worked with through mentoring over the years who they feel comfortable that their VA or their office manager has a good handle on their brand voice. And so they literally just tell their team member, hey, this is what I think we should write about this month. And that person can write in their voice. Other people, I've seen it done a little differently, where you're still creating the content, right? That might be something that you aren't quite ready to give up the role of actually creating and being the voice of the brand and creating those Instagram posts or writing those blog posts. But you know that, scheduling them out, creating the graphics for them, all the things that are part of that workflow isn't going to be the best use of your time and energy. So what you can do is you can, kind of try and batch that work as much as possible. Sit down, write, a week's worth of blog posts, a month's worth of blog posts, and then hand over those notes to your team member. And then they can go into your website, your blogging platform, get those scheduled for you. They can also then take those blog posts and turn them into Facebook posts or Instagram posts or content that needs to live on Pinterest. You see, there's so many different ways that having someone who's a part of your team who can help take these things off of your plate, help you still execute them and do them so well, but you don't have to be the one doing everything, pushing every button, hitting publish on every single post. Someone else can do that. And it's still going to be your voice. It's still going to be your message, your insight, everything that you're wanting to share through your marketing content, but it doesn't have to be you actually executing it or doing all of the things. So having someone to help you execute your content calendar can be such an amazing, amazing way to still grow your business, right? Because if you have someone who's executing your content calendar, whereas before, maybe you weren't able to execute your content calendar because you simply didn't have enough hours in the day, all of a sudden you're putting out amazing, consistent content that is a reflection of your expertise, your best work. Your potential clients are seeing it. It's, gaining traction on Pinterest. It's connecting with people on Instagram. And as a result, having someone to execute that editorial calendar for you can actually bring in new inquiries and new clients. So definitely something to think about, something to get excited about too, because there's a huge amount of potential there. Then my fourth and final way that I really do believe that having an admin type hire can help you grow your business. It's something that I've kind of been saying off and on throughout this entire conversation so far. So you might have actually heard me mention it already, but they can help take non-essential tasks off your plate. There are two really great books that I highly recommend if you're thinking about growing your business. One of them is called Essentialism. And it is essentially a book about how to identify and then lean into your highest points of contribution. That can be in business, that can be in life. But it was such an eye-opening book for me. I think I read it back in maybe 2015 or 2016. And it was so game-changing for me to see all of the spaces, all of the ways in which I was spending energy that weren't actually propelling me towards my ultimate goal for my life or my ultimate goal for my business. I was wasting time and energy doing all of these things that I thought mattered, but when I actually challenged myself and I really looked at them, they weren't really important. So Essentialism, one great book. Another amazing book, especially, under the kind of the thought of growing your team and really onboarding them well, leading them well, is called Traction. My team and I actually implement the entire process mapped out in Traction. Everything from weekly team meetings, quarterly team meetings, so many different aspects of how we assign goals within our team, responsibilities, accountability. It's been a game changer, and I can't recommend it highly enough. So even if you don't have people on your team yet, I believe that there's nothing wrong with being proactive and learning how you can be the best leader possible. But all of that to say, being a leader, being someone who has people on your team who are helping you grow your business, stepping into that CEO mindset, for lack of a better term, boils down to being able to see where you are most valuable and where your time is best spent. So probably as a designer, your time is not going to be best spent by, creating Pinterest graphics for your blog post or, even necessarily doing your bookkeeping or, things like that. If we think about like your big picture goals as a designer, as a strategist, there are probably a lot of other tasks that are going to be the best and most strategic use of your time. If you can open up your business and bring people on board to execute those non-essential, and I say non-essential within the context of they're not essential for you to do them. They're still essential for the health of the business and for things to keep moving forward, but you specifically don't have to be the one doing them. That can be game-changing for you in the sense of how much time you're able to open up, how much mental space and how much creativity you're able to create in your week, in your day, in your month, to be able to really continue to step into this role as the CEO, as the head of your business. So having someone on your team where you can, delegate these non-essential for you type tasks, they can help you pour into your highest points of contribution in such a powerful and amazing way. So, if you are, kind of going through and hearing what I'm talking about and thinking like, okay, like I really think that there's a lot of benefit that I could experience from having someone on my team, I would, again, just really encourage you to bring on someone who can fit kind of an admin type role. And the reason why I encourage you to bring someone on who can fit more of that admin type role, like a VA, office manager, someone like that, is because having all of those, important but not super critical tasks off of your plate will actually give you more space to assess a lot of your client work and a lot of your design work that you're doing. And it might help you identify, like actually I'm pretty swamped with design work and I could use an associate designer. Or it could help you identify, I really love doing the strategy work that's a part of my process. I really love creating logos and visual identities, but I just don't get joy anymore out of designing websites. Well, then that can tell you, hey, maybe it's time to hire a web developer, right? Having a lot of those other more, day-to-day tasks off your plate can help you identify other areas for growth within your business and other areas that might allow you to really bolster the design side of things and really help you take on more clients, serve them even better than before. There are lots of different ways that growing your team can actually help you serve more clients, still in deep and intentional ways, but in a way where you are kind of giving yourself a chance to grow your reach, to grow your ability to impact and to serve other creatives, other business owners, and that can be a really beautiful, amazing thing. I see that I've got some questions coming in, so I definitely want to get to those. But one thing that I wanted to mention here is, as we're talking about growing your team, especially if you're thinking of growing your team for the first time, I would recommend looking into bringing someone on as an independent contractor. With any hire, I think that it can feel really tempting to think up front, before you guys have actually worked together, that you're a match made in heaven and everything's going to be perfect and sunshine and rainbows. But then after a few months of working together, you find that maybe you're not the best fit, or maybe you find that there are different ways that you could be educating this person, or different ways that you could be guiding this person through your processes so that it's done in the way that you want it to be done. And having an independent contractor gives you both the space to do amazing work without the more formal responsibility of a traditional employer-employee relationship. Now, of course, I'm not a lawyer, so a very grossly oversimplified, kind of definition of an independent contractor would be someone who operates as their own independent entity. They are responsible for their own taxes and things of that nature. You are not able to tell them, when they work, like they have to work from 9 to 5. They, as an independent contractor, have the ability and have the right to choose when they're working. Of course, you guys can agree to a set number of hours each week, but you're not denoting that they are, kind of demanding that they do something in this very specific way, in this time frame, from this hour to this hour every single day, because that kind of in the eyes of the IRS becomes a little bit more of an employer-employee kind of relationship. But the great thing about working with someone in an independent contractor basis is it gives you the time to start things out with kind of a preliminary contract of working together for 6 months to see how it's going. And then at the end of that 6-month period, If it's still a match made in heaven and you guys want to move forward, then you can extend that to a year-long contract, and you can, renew that contract annually, so that that is just a relationship that is constantly growing and really taking things to the next level as your business continues to grow and as your relationship continues to grow. I would really encourage you, if you are thinking of bringing someone onto your business in any capacity, whether that's as an employee or as an independent contractor, to really sit down with that person and go through a robust outline of what is expected of them, what they can expect of you, any specifics in terms of requirements that you have of them, of, maybe software that they're familiar with, or, programs that you want them to use, or any of those kinds of things. And a great way to do that is to have a solid contract that you utilize with them. But it can feel a little confusing writing a contract from scratch. And it can, especially if this is your first time bringing someone on your team, you might be wondering what to include and how to write that in the best way possible to really set that relationship up for success. So I actually have a really great contract template that I have used from the Contract Shop, which is a shop of legal and business resources for creative entrepreneurs. And I'm actually just going to pop it here in the chat. If that is something that would serve you well, you can click on over and learn a little bit more about it. I believe that they actually have templates that are available. They can be written for here in the US, Australia, I believe, Canada, and also the UK. So they are also available on an international basis based on, or, kind of dependent upon where you are located. All that to say, with every person that I have worked with as an independent contractor, having a clear template, having a clear outline of what is expected through that contract has been just a great way for us to be very upfront going into that relationship of what I expect of them, how I can serve them best, how I can set them up for success, but also what I can expect from them as well. So anytime you go into any kind of relationship like that, just like you wouldn't hire or bring on a new client without a contract in place, why would you bring someone into your business, into kind of the innermost workings of this beautiful brand that you've built without a solid contract in place as well? But all that to say, I know I've got some questions and I definitely want to get to those. But if you have any questions about anything that we've talked through so far, below the video, there's a little section that says ask a question. So you can just click on that, type in your question, and I see it there. So I'm going to pop this open and take a look. Let's see. All right. So first question is, where do you look for an admin to hire? This is such a great question because I feel like there are a lot of different ways to go about finding a good person, someone who's going to be a great fit for your goals and your needs. Personally, what I have done, I have found I believe all of my team members over the years by asking people in my community. So asking my industry friends, people who I have, ongoing relationships with within the creative community. I just sent them an email saying, hey, I'm looking for this type of person to fit this kind of role. I would link to kind of the informal job description, quote unquote, that I put together. And I just say, hey, do you know anyone who's looking for this kind of work? Do you know anyone who would be a good fit for that? Sometimes you get great recommendations. Sometimes you just get, a response of, no one really comes to mind, but I'll keep this, kind of on file in case I find someone who has that really great, kind of experience that would be a good fit for you in that way. So asking your community, especially if you're really wanting to bring someone on who is going to be maybe doing more proprietary type things where they are, they're learning more about your signature process, or they are seeing obviously more of the inner workings of your business. Being able to work with someone who has a relationship with someone else can add a level of familiarity and a level of trust even that can be really helpful. There's another great resource that actually just launched. It's called outsourcingwithlove.com. And it is a amazing directory of all different kinds of service providers, but there's a robust section of VAs, admin type roles, and you can take a look at each individual profile. You can learn more about who they are, what they do, what types of projects they take on, what their availability looks like. So that can also be a great way to do that. I've had some people, some clients in the past who've experienced great results with asking around in Facebook groups for hires and things like that. But I think that asking in Facebook groups, that also means that you're probably going to be getting a great volume of inquiries. And sometimes when we're putting out like a big, announcement of, hey, I'm growing my team and I'm looking for someone, we can get like an influx of inquiries that doesn't necessarily denote the kind of quality or the kind of person that we are actually looking for. So being a little bit more proactive, I guess, and asking people within your community, friends who are in your industry, that can be a great way to find a good hire. And then also, I've heard really great things about the Outsourcing with Love website. So I hope that helps. And y'all, if you have like a follow-up question for anything, please feel free to let me know. Okay, next question is about processes. How do you create your process handbook, and what is the best way to do this? So the book that I mentioned earlier, Traction, they actually have a really, really great framework for writing down your processes and how to put them all together. What I did is actually, before I brought someone onto my team, I knew that I wanted to, and that I needed, if I was going to really do this in the best way possible, I needed to have my processes outlined so that I could educate them on those processes. So what I did is, it was a series of days and weeks where I would, kind of sit down at first and write down all of the systems and all the things that I do on a day-to-day basis. I would just, as I was doing them, kind of like make note, okay, how I respond to this type of inquiry, or how I schedule a blog post, or how I, get a new client set up in HoneyBook. These are all things that I do on a regular basis. And so I just kind of made myself a note of, okay, this is a process that I need to write out. And so then I would carve out dedicated time kind of in the days after that to just sit down, and from, step one to the final step, I would write out everything that I did and make it very clear. If someone had never opened my CRM before, or they had never been in WordPress before, would they be able to identify, would they be able to use these instructions to execute this task? So I really mapped it out in a very easy to follow kind of way. And I did everything in Google Docs. So I have a Google Drive folder that has all of these docs of different steps that we take. And I have it broken into kind of broader categories, like, so creating a blog post, that would be under, blogging workflow, or adding a new client project to HoneyBook would be under, client onboarding, stuff like that. So that it's really easy, really quick for people to log into Google Drive, take a look, get where they're wanting to go, and dive into that information in that way. It's definitely a process. And to be honest, it's something that I'm still adding to as my business continues to grow, and as my team and I even identify new processes and new systems, we're constantly adding to it. But having that framework in place of just like the kind of most important, most powerful steps that we take as a foundation will help this admin hire that you bring on already hit the ground running without you having to spend a huge amount of time educating them. And something to keep in mind with any new hire that you bring on, I highly, highly recommend scheduling an onboarding call. If you can, block out, an hour or two in that first day when they're starting with you, where the two of you can really put your heads together and dive into kind of some sample projects that you would want them to do, or really educate them on how to get set up with these workflows, how to get set up in your systems and your tools that you're using. And it also gives them the great opportunity to ask you questions that you might not have thought of. And it gives you this amazing chance to really focus on onboarding them in the best way possible. So I hope that helps as well. Okay. Final question that I see so far, a big reason or a big part of the reason that my clients hire me is because they like working with me. So how will my clients feel to suddenly be getting emails from someone else? Well, Emily, this is such a great question. And I think that part of how you educate your clients on the fact that you have a team will denote and kind of dictate how people will feel if they receive other emails from you. So, for example, I have other people on my team. I make it very clear that my clients can expect to receive, emails that are going to be very pertained to their strategy work or their brand from me specifically. I am consistently that point of contact because I am always the person guiding my clients through that process, right? Where my team is coming into place, they're helping me with more kind of behind the scenes things, or they're helping me with more admin type things. And so they aren't necessarily handling all of the client relationship or all of the client communication, especially with my one-on-one clients. Marie Anna is someone who, as my right-hand gal, especially for the courses that I run, the group programs that I run, she's able to be kind of a second face of my brand, where we're both able to field questions from students. And I make it clear from day one when people are signing up for one of those courses or getting involved in my group coaching program, they know who Marie Anna is. They know that she's a part of my team. And so they feel comfortable chatting with both of us. And they also know that if they ask Marie Anna a question that she doesn't know the answer to, she's going to send it to me, and that they're going to still get the best service and the best care that they can. So when you are working with clients who are feeling really kind of a strong attachment to you, and you personally are a big reason why they are hiring you, I think you have a great opportunity to establish ways that you still get to be the face of your brand, right? Establish ways that you are able to tell them, and you're able to kind of set that precedent so that they know that they can, still expect to work with you on a regular basis, or that you're going to be the one who's answering their questions or chatting with them or, taking calls with them. But on some of the behind the scenes types of things, like, scheduling your invoices or something like that, your team member might be the one handling that. Also, there is the option, if you are needing for your team member to send out emails that are a little bit more personal in nature, or you want them to feel like they're coming from you, you can ask your team member if they're comfortable sending out an email as you. This is something that, I know a lot of entrepreneurs do. It's a very common practice, and it simply boils down to whether or not your team member is comfortable doing that, being kind of an extension of you in that way, especially if it's like a common thing, like if you're getting a lot of inquiries, right? And you know that the best use of your time is not going back and forth with someone to schedule a consult call. Your admin can go in as you, respond with your canned email template of how you respond to inquiries, and help guide that potential client in the right way so that they can book a call with you, grab a meeting with you, whatever your part of your process is, in order to, inspire that connection and kind of get things to the next level in that way. So I hope that helps. To kind of recap really quickly, I would highly recommend that if you are to just really kind of set clear expectations for yourself and for your clients of, these are the things that you alone will handle. These are the things that your team member might handle. And if that's something that your team member might handle, letting your clients know that that person is a part of the process so that they're feeling equally invested in it. So I hope that helps. Okay. Hannah is asking, who is the author of Traction? And that is such a great question. I actually need to look that up real quick because I cannot remember for the life of me. But it is, okay, here we go. It is by Gino Wickman. So the answer to the question, who's the author of Traction? That is Gino Wickman. So GinoWickman. And you can snag that on You can snag that on Amazon. Most of your local bookstores will have it too. It's such a great read. It's actually a pretty quick read, and it's 100% action-based. So it's not so much spending a lot of time talking about like high level business theory. It's 100% about how to set up and execute a team structure that is designed to propel your business forward and build trust and teamwork along the way. So it's been great. Emily, Hannah, I'm so glad that we could answer those questions for y'all. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know. If you are diving into the contract template, or if you've got questions about any of the books that I've mentioned, Essentialism, and that is written by Greg McKeown, and Traction by Gino Wickman, feel free to let me know. But I hope that this has been helpful. I know personally that growing my team was one of the best investments that I've ever made in myself, in my business, and in my clients. And I hope that if you choose to make this jump as well, that it is something that just continues to bless your business. As we have kind of been talking a lot today about things like onboarding clients, growing, our relationships with our clients, and really setting things up for success, I wanted to share with you something totally fun, totally free that I am doing later this month. So actually, on April 15th, what I'm going to be doing is bringing back this really fun, free 5-day challenge that I created for designers called the 5 Days to More Dream Projects Challenge. And I'm going to add it below. So if you want to sign up for the challenge, you can. But like I said, we're kicking things off on April 15th. And the way that the challenge works is every single day of the 5-day challenge, I'm going to be guiding you through a prospect and an aspect of creating a really streamlined onboarding process for your design clients that can literally help you set every single client project up for success from day one. So if onboarding your clients, setting those expectations, educating your clients about your process and how you do things is something that you've struggled with in the past, it's something that I personally love nerding out over, and I would love to be able to share my own templates, my own resources, my own experience with you as we kick this off so that you literally can snag a tried and true template essentially for how to set your client projects up for success by utilizing this idea of streamlined client onboarding. So you can join the free challenge below. It's going to be a lot of fun. I actually did this last August, and it was such a blast. We've got a private Facebook group for it. It was so awesome getting to know the designers in there. I go live for a live training every day, and it's so great being able to kind of connect with people in that way. And so I'd love to have you join us later this month as we gear up to kick that off. But y'all are the best. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today as we talked about how to really strategically grow your business through that very first hire. As always, I'm going to be cheering you on from Waco. So excited to see how you take this content and grow your business. And I hope that you will join me for another designer strategy chat in the future. I've actually got one on the books for, I think, April 18th. And it's going to be my 4-step process to booking higher end clients as a designer. So if you want to also sign up for that, you can just click over here on Crowdcast. You can click over to my profile and save your seat for that free training too. And if you sign up for any of these events here in Crowdcast, you will receive a replay. You do have to sign up for the live event, but after you do that, you will have access to the replay also. So today, by tuning into this, you've got access to this replay also. So you can rewatch this at any point and dive a little bit deeper into all the great stuff that we've covered today. So y'all are great. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I look forward to chatting with you guys again so soon. Have a great rest of your day.